Ooh, what it do, snackers and snackettes? It's your boy Gage. It's time for cutscenes where we get together once a week, talk about things happening in video games. Teams running a little late. Sin went to go watch Demon Slayer in the theater. I know that's exciting for y'all anime folks. I'm sure it'll be good. Whatever. Jokes hit a little bit of traffic, running behind. Should be jumping in a minute. In the meantime, I'm going to do the super duper rundown of what we're expecting to have popping off this evening. We're going to talk a little bit about this PlayStation Plus video pass that got leaked and then confirmed. We're going to talk about the reversal of the closing of some of the PlayStation Store stuff. We're going to talk about some new IP coming for PlayStation and Sony. We're going to talk about the Xbox Cloud Gaming beta for browsers and iOS. Microsoft finally hitting, making games that are free to play available on Xbox without having to have Xbox Live Gold. EA games getting FPS Boost. There's so much stuff. There is so much stuff to talk about. So we're going to do it. We're just going to run them up. Talk about some of those things. Again, Jokes should be joining us shortly. Thank you to everybody who's in the chat. What's up to everybody who's watching right now at home. So here's what I want to start with. Earlier this week, there was a leak that happened via PlayStation's own website, although it was in Poland. It was their Polish website that leaked something called PlayStation Plus Video Pass. What up, KB? Welcome to the show, bro. And the PlayStation Plus Video Pass apparently is something new that they're rolling out that will allow people who have PlayStation Plus or who are members of PlayStation Plus to also have access. What's up, Heather? To Sony's video content. Now, exactly what video content and all of that is still a little up in the air. Look, here comes Jokes. Y'all make sure y'all ready to make fun of this guy when he gets in here for being late. Hey, bruh. You late, bruh, but welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like this top and bottom thing. Let's change that. That feels better. That feels better. You know what I mean? Side by side. You're late, but we're talking about the PlayStation Plus Video Pass thing that leaked earlier this week. I don't know if you got it. Did you get a chance to see? Did you see it?
Mm-hmm.
So look, it was leaked on their like Polish site, and literally was leaked like it goes live tomorrow. So
I
people started asking about it. Exactly.
Just a little bit, K. Just a little bit, K.
That's it. That's it, Cuddy. That's it, Cuddy. Right there, bro. Let them have it. Lay little baby Jokes.
Oh, I made it in before Ty. Hey, as long as I make it before Ty, we good. Because if I'd have been in here after Ty, it'd have been a problem.
Way bad. Now listen, I talked to Ty earlier today. we played a little bit of Outriders, but sort of not really. He like literally jumped in at the very end of an expedition and didn't do anything. But he got stuff, so that's cool. That's what matters. Anyway, yeah. So they announced it. Not really announced it. It got leaked. Of course, publications saw it and started asking about it, and eventually they had to just admit that yes, this is a thing.
It's a thing.
It is rolling out now. What they're saying is that they are only testing it in Poland. Excuse me. Listen, bro. What do you? I mean, does that upset you? Is that something?
Not really.
Is that something you would want? Like realistically, like if
I don't care. Like I'm just not on my PlayStation enough to really care, honestly.
But isn't that the point? I mean, wouldn't that be what the point is? That like, if you have, I mean, first of all, I guess let's start with there are a ton of people who have PlayStation Plus.
There's certainly,
like 115 million PlayStation 4s that are out there. Let alone whatever PlayStation 5s have actually managed to make it out into the streets. So there are plenty of people who play their games and they're PlayStation people and whatever. And so to me, it's a great added value. I mean, like anytime they add, Hey, look.
I made it by the skin of my teeth.
Ty, bro. Hey, listen, I know you didn't know, Ty, but listen, it was so perfect, Tardy Ty. Just like you jump in here, Tardy. You jumped in the game, Tardy. We were at the end. Like, no bull, we were at the end of like one of the hardest expeditions there is. Straight up. Cuddy says, I don't care because the only Sony videos I care about are coming to Disney Plus. With the Spider-Man logo. Hey, listen.
I dig that.
But listen. Okay, so listen. We'll talk about that, but only briefly because this is a video game show and not weekly. I was going to save it for next week. Here's what I'll say. There's some tomfoolery and trickery happening with that. And I'm sort of proud of PlayStation for just, if there's one thing Sony has done right, it is that they have played Disney and Marvel to a T based on their ownership of their rights that they have to the licenses that they have from them. Because like just last week or earlier this week, they announced that they did a deal. Sony did a deal with Netflix to put all of their content
stuff right on there
on Netflix directly. So like today they announced that it's coming to Disney Plus. So I don't know if you read into it, but here's what's really happening. And again, then we're gonna move on. What up, Perp? So after the period of time in the theater, right after the movie runs in the theater, then those movies go to Netflix, and they have a 2-year deal with Netflix. Okay. The stuff doesn't go to Disney Plus until after
year 3, pretty much.
The time on Netflix. Yeah, so you're talking like 3 years later.
It's not even like cool. It's there if you start chronologically and you want to watch it. Cool, you got it. But that's kind of a hefty amount of time. By the time then, we're already talking about next potential movie getting ready to either come out or already be out by then.
It's the reason why these are some of my favorite things, because these are the kind of things that you can't really foresee when you start negotiating contracts, right? That you can't foresee the need to negotiate things like this for the future, because at the time, even though Netflix was already a thing, at the time that they renegotiated the contracts for Sony and Disney to allow Spider-Man to be a part of the MCU and blah, 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 nobody knew Disney was going to have its own streaming service. And that the streaming wars would have happened and heated up the way they did throughout last year. Like, you can't plan for stuff like that. It's the kind of thing that happens in video games all the time. Like, as much as I would love for them to just remake Def Jam Fight for New York, it's not happening because that music and what it would take to relicense all that music. Like, some of those artists don't even have deals. Like, who owns the rights to that music and all that? Like, it's so dirty and messy. And that's why it took so long for Tony Hawk to get his games remade. Because you just got to redo all those licensing deals and all that kind of stuff. It's why it's so hard. There is a new boxing game coming. I don't know if you saw it, but it actually looks like it might be a thing. But those deals are really, really hard to do. Now, this PlayStation Plus Video Pass thing, it looks like it's a 1-year trial. It looks like they get it for a year. Now, I don't know if they're going to up the cost or, whatever. I don't even know if they know that. They're doing a test. They said specifically, Sony confirmed that this is a test to be monitored before deciding on a wider launch. So, is it probably coming? Yeah. You know what I mean? And does it mean that it could include like Funimation stuff or something like that?
Possibility.
Absolutely, right? Because they own Funimation and Crunchyroll now. So like there is certainly potential for this. And what gets included in what areas obviously still remains to be seen, because in the same way that like if you have a VPN, you can watch everything Netflix has because
you can change the location
are specific to the regions, right? And being able to change your region means you don't have to have Disney Plus to watch Studio Ghibli stuff because it's on Netflix in Japan. You just have to switch your location to be Japan and you can watch whatever you want. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that, right? So I guess my real question is do you view this as something that would be competitive with something like Game Pass?
I don't know. I don't think so. Because it really is going to come down to two. With this is what content they're going to have specifically there. Like, obviously, whatever is theirs and Sony's, I expect to probably show up to be able to watch on there. But as right now, that would be the only thing that I would really expect to show up on there. Now, obviously, if you decide that maybe, okay, this looks like it's going to be a success, maybe do they start going into the realm of making their own stuff and put on there? Now, as a person that had, as a person that had PlayStation View, like
Yeah.
I kind of I kind of don't have that much faith. Like, I enjoy View and it worked, and then they cut the cord on that.
I know.
So I don't know. So let them have their trial. It was supposed to be done with nobody knowing. It was going to be overseas somewhere in the cut.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, here's the deal. The thing I think is the most interesting about this announcement and them testing this is that Sony just announced in like March that they were discontinuing the ability to rent and purchase videos through the PlayStation, like videos and TV, movies and TV through the PlayStation Store.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is set to, and that's supposed to end in like August.
Yeah.
Right. So like you're testing something that will put video streaming or add videos back into what is essentially your video game subscription. PlayStation Plus is a video game subscription, right? So I feel like anything that adds value to that, right? That it still is kind of like this is something that people who love video games and like this is something they subscribe to. But if they do, they get this additional bonus feature or whatever. And yes, you probably, whatever it is they can show, that is probably going to be accessible somewhere else. Now, what we haven't seen yet is how successful and what that means in terms of PlayStation having, I guess Sony having their own movie production house for PlayStation specifically. So like the Uncharted movie is being done by them. They have other movies that they have announced that are video game based movies where they are hiring honestly great talent in terms of actors and so forth, directors and so forth, showrunners and so forth, to take video game IP that belongs to them and make it into full feature-length films. And so maybe you get something there. Maybe that stuff will end up being exclusive there first before it goes somewhere else. To me, it means that there's something else happening behind the scenes that is a reason why they're testing this to see what's happening. Why Poland of all places?
Right. That's maybe they watch a lot of movies and TV over there. I mean, granted, I'm sure people do that here, but I don't know.
You don't generally test stuff like this in the US for whatever reason. Kay says he thinks it'll draw people to PlayStation. Yes. Is it a competitor to Game Pass? No, it's apples and oranges. And you might be right. KBL says, I mean, personally, I know people who have PlayStations without PlayStation Plus. I imagine there's still revenue to be gained, even by individuals who even have the consoles already. I agree.
And that's true.
Listen, I absolutely agree that, again, anything that you can add that's a differentiator. Because at some point, Xbox Live Gold will cease to be a thing. It has to.
We're seeing the shades of that. We're starting to see the shades of that right now.
PlayStation Plus versus Game Pass Ultimate is more of what you're going to start to see. And because your subscription to Gold includes Game Pass and streaming and being to play your games anywhere, you have to make PlayStation Plus competitive in some other manner. And I think that's what you have to do, because as of right now, we have no idea what Sony is planning to do in terms of having an actual answer for Game Pass. That isn't PlayStation Now. However, on that note, they announced today that PlayStation Now is getting an upgrade. So PlayStation Now, especially when compared to Game Pass, but just as a whole, I don't think it gets quite the credit it should get for what it is. The millions of dollars that Sony spent to acquire Gaikai, to take that technology so that they could do PlayStation Now. PlayStation Now does make them a lot of money. Toddy Ty says Xbox starting to become the MCU and Sony is the first DCEU.
First things first, the Snyderverse got to actually exist. I mean,
it does exist. It just has fizzled at this point. Yeah, so they're upgrading PlayStation Now so that now you can actually stream games in 1080p.
Okay, that's clean.
Which is a solid move. Up to now, you could only stream in 720. Now, there are games that you can download. There's like 300 PlayStation 3 titles that you can download and play if you want to. And the stuff that you can download, you can play in like 4K. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that works in 4K, like you could play in 4K. Like I do think that there is a apples to apples comparison. Like you could put together a chart side by side of what PlayStation Now is and does and has and compare it. And PlayStation Now has like, I mean, not that it's the greatest game, but it has like Marvel's Avengers in it now. You know what I mean? I think it's a dope move, but it does mean to me that, again, they don't talk about it a lot. You don't hear about it a lot, but that takes effort and time and money to put into being able to make something stream at such a higher resolution. And so that means they haven't given up on it.
Nope.
Whatever it is they do, they're going to use PlayStation Now to incorporate whatever their answer for Game Pass is into it. KB says PS Now is the counterpart to Game Pass, if we're being honest, but the catalog isn't even comparable, and they need to adjust the pricing structure. I mean, yes and no. Last time I checked, PlayStation Now was $10 a month, just like Game Pass is. There's a lot more to choose from on PlayStation Now. The difference is that most of it is older. PS1, PS2, PS3 stuff you can download. Can't download PS4 stuff, or it's the other way around. I guess it's PS4.
No, I think you got it right. You can't do PS4 stuff, yeah.
Because of I don't know. Anyway, I mean, I do think it's comparable in a lot of ways. Like it wasn't until Game Pass hit and became really a thing. That was when they decided to let people download stuff. Otherwise, you had to stream. And that was part of people's complaints, was streaming. And the streaming tech wasn't there. But we all know the streaming tech is getting better. Way better. And better, especially now. So that's beginning to change. Before I go too far, I want to talk about Sony's Reversal from last week. Why is that funny to you, Jokes?
This is becoming the thing now. Like, now granted, the Vita and PlayStation 3 games, let's just, over here, at least in the States, the Vita is not popping where it is. So, but I know in Japan, I mean, folks still love the Vita. I mean,
I think there are people who still love the Vita here. I just think they made, and we had this discussion, but like they made a lot of mistakes with the Vita, mostly memory, the memory part.
But the fact that like a lot of the developers didn't know that this was coming, so even if they were, I don't want to say banking on that income or random, you may jump in there and say, hey, let me just go ahead and download X, Y, and Z or whatnot ever. I feel like it left a bad taste more in their mouths. And I think that maybe is where they're trying to rectify things at.
I disagree. I don't think that's what it is. I'm gonna tell you. Listen, I feel like I'm gonna read you from the blog what they said. If you're not hip, what we're talking about is a couple of weeks ago, Sony made the announcement that they were shutting down the online stores for PlayStation 3 and Vita and PSP. And people were all up in arms and talking about game preservation, and there were a lot of reasons that people were upset. You could pick from any number of them. But a lot of people were just like, all right, they're getting ready to shut them down. We need to just go in and
start grabbing
buy, just buy what we can buy. So the blog specifically says, recently we notified players that PlayStation Store for PS3 and PS Vita devices was planned to end this summer. Upon further reflection, however, it's clear that we made the wrong decision here. So today I'm happy to say that we will be keeping the PlayStation Store operational for PS3 and PS Vita devices. PSP commerce functionality will retire on July 2nd, 2021 as planned. Excuse me. What that in and of itself says to me is that They didn't see people going and buy a bunch of PSP games. They like.
I'm not now that PSP one. I'm not mad at all. Like that one, I'm not really mad at.
Why?
Like,
Because of the age?
yeah, the age of it. I mean, you can get. It was a handful, but it's the same thing you said. The damn memory cards. Like you could probably still get the Vita ones, okay, but the memory sticks. Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
What it says is when we initially came to the decision to end purchasing support for PS3 and PS Vita, it was born out of a number of factors, including commerce support challenges for older devices and the ability for us to focus more of our resources on newer devices where a majority of our gamers are playing on. We see now that many of you are incredibly passionate about being able to continue purchasing classic games on PS3 and PS Vita for the foreseeable future, and I'm glad we're able to find a solution to continue operations. I'm glad that we can keep this piece of our history alive for gamers to enjoy while we continue to create cutting-edge new game worlds for PS4, PS5, and the next generation of VR. Thank you for sharing your feedback with us. We're always listening and appreciate the support from our PlayStation community. So here's the thing. PlayStation began a lot of bad press. And they could really use a win. And announcing that they were shutting those stores down was terrible.
Did not help at all.
It really is. Like, again, if you are tried and true, down and dirty PlayStation people, this hurt, right? Not just because they're shutting the stores down, but because it is so contradictory to all the things that you're hearing from the competition from Microsoft. Backwards compatibility. We're just going to add these games in the Game Pass. FPS Boost. We're making old games play even better. We're not just giving you old games.
Right. We're making them better.
We found a way to make the 360 store work on your Xbox One, and it still works on your Xbox Series. And
clean.
That idea of the respect for your money, for your purchase, the thing that people are used to. Now, Sony had still been playing a very, very old and tired game of we don't do, this is the new generation. We don't do old.
Putting the line here. This is where we stand. That's the old. This the new. We sticking with this.
But the crazy thing about it is, all PlayStations since the PS2 have had backwards compatibility. At least at the start. You know what I mean? Like early on, that was a thing. The only reason they didn't do it with the PlayStation 4 was because they went so far off the radar with the build of the PlayStation 3 that they could not do it. They could not make PS3 games work with the PlayStation 4. And to an extent, it was almost the same thing with the PlayStation 2 because the jump from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3, again, they got so different in the build with the cell processors or whatever for the PlayStation 3 that emotion engine they had to put in the PlayStation 3 essentially was the brain of a PS2 inside of a PS3. And the reason they took it out was just because of what it was costing them to manufacture, and the systems were too expensive. That's what it is, right? But they blamed it on you. They didn't take it on the chin and say, hey, listen, these are still expensive. Because realistically, you would think that they would go, we'll just do two models. Because they already have multiple models, right? Let's put out a 40 gig joint. You know what I'm saying? There's a 60, there's a 40, you know what I mean? Like, you would think we're going to have a PlayStation 3 for people who still want to play their old games. It's going to be at a premium price because it costs us more money to manufacture those.
Makes perfect sense.
You know what I mean? But they didn't do that, right? They pulled them out. We can't do this. We're just gonna shut it down. People don't want it. That's what they said. People, y'all don't want this. Y'all don't really want this. You're making it up. Y'all don't really want it.
Survey says
wrong. You are the father. Hey, listen. Listen. KB said I'm a PS guy, but they on joke time, and I hear you. Then they can finally retire those old consoles if they just offer backwards compatibility. And here's the thing. They could, if they can figure it out. Yeah. Here's what the issue is for Sony in terms of stuff like that. Sony is a hardware company, not a software company. They do not know and or understand software engineering and what it takes to prep for things, for changes, for updates, for things like that in the future. It's not built into the infrastructure of what they are. It's why you only within like the last 2 years got the ability to change your PlayStation Network name, right? And for anybody who is unaware of why something that seems like it should be so simple was so difficult, it is because the way they built the structure for the PlayStation Network, when you created your name, that name was your name. And it didn't have an overlay. What Microsoft did when they built Xbox Live, again, as a software company who is used to dealing with people being users and whatever, when you created an Xbox Live account, that account has a number associated with it. The name that you choose is literally just an overlay on top of what that number is, allowing you to change the name because the number assigned to the account
stays the same.
It's essentially like a social security number, but you want to change your name because your parents made your middle name something that you think is corny. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how that works. Sony didn't do that. So in order for them to make it so you could change your name, they literally had to rewrite the structure that it's built on, because it's not how they handle things, because they're not a software company. They're a hardware company. It's just kind of what it is. Kay says that's why you buy or hire somebody who does have that insight. Here's the thing.
You should.
Here's the thing. You also have to see it coming, right? Microsoft buys tech. Yeah. So did Sony. Like Microsoft buys tech all the time.
Yeah. Right? They got plans for it.
Yeah.
They see it and they're going
that makes me feel good. I said my man got the knowledge.
Hey, Microsoft just plans long game. It's like they jumped in the mix when they did Mixer initially. What was it beforehand?
Beam.
Beam
initially.
It was Beam initially. And then when they found the newer tech and acquired it, then we switched over and got it to Mixer. They got what they wanted out of doing Mixer. As much as they would have loved to continue with it, there's like, you know what? We got what we need. Let's just sell this all.
You can't beat Twitch.
We can't do it. So we're going to put our eggs. We got the data that we needed to take this, and now we're going to integrate this into what it is we want to focus on, and we're going to keep it moving. And I give them props for that. And it's just like you said, look into the future. You get what you need now, and you start putting those layers in place. All right.
Yeah.
We have this low latency. What can we do with this low latency other than just you streaming your game or you talking online with people? You know what? Somehow we could probably incorporate this into the games, and we can start streaming the games.
Sure.
They figured that out, took that piece of it and said, okay, we don't need this anymore. Twitch, you can have it.
It's not that Sony doesn't have Microsoft money to spend. Sony is not a $1 trillion company like Microsoft is. Microsoft can afford to buy something like Beam and take the loss if it doesn't work out, right? Because at the end of the day, it's still a write-off for them, technically, right? It's a business venture that failed. So it's still a write-off for them. The difference is you can't really beat Sony as a whole in terms of hardware. What Sony does, even down to like their their cameras, like they make great hardware, and they do have solid software in some cases. Like people know Sony Bravia TVs, but Bravia is not just the name of the TV brand. It's the name of the engine that runs the picture quality of the television. Now, people are beating them at their own game, but the reality of it is Sony doesn't even make the screens in their own TVs. So they name them Bravia because they're trying to have a differentiator between what you see when you get those things. So it is our engine that's powering what you see, even though Samsung makes our screen, because Samsung makes everybody's screen.
Everybody's.
Like, except maybe LG, right? Like, they make everybody's screen. They make the screen in the PSP. They made the screen in the Vita. I'm going to tell you how I figured out that they made the screen in the PSP. When I was selling PSPs, and I sold a lot of PSPs, bro.
Yeah, but
I dealt with a lot of people who were very upset at things that were broken or didn't work or whatever, right? If you hear me, this is how real this was for me. If you turn to page 11 of the PSP manual, it tells you that they do not cover, they don't cover the screen as an issue. Dead pixels, things, they don't cover it. And the reason why they don't cover it is because they don't make it.
They don't make it. Hey,
that's it.
Hey, I get it, because that's like a lot of same thing you say about Samsung. A lot of people, for the most part, didn't know Apple at one point in time. You open them bad boys up, and parts and things that were in there, Samsung.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got to look at it this way. Sony, because they manufacture, right? Their ability to take PlayStation consoles and partner them with Sony TVs, sell bundles, do stuff like that. Microsoft had to get in bed with somebody. So that somebody had to be Samsung, because at the time they had the hottest TVs. Like, they were the ones. So anytime you saw an Xbox console, if it was in a GameStop, if it was in a Best Buy, if it was whatever, it was always paired with a Samsung television. That deal still exists to this day. They are still doing deals with Samsung. It is why you hear them talking about Game Pass, xCloud, stuff like that, showing up on Samsung phones and showing up on Samsung TVs. That deal still exists for them because that partnership made sense and is good for them. But you also got to keep in mind that in the same way, Microsoft is putting their hands in every field so that even Sony has to pay them in order to keep doing what they're doing with their games. Samsung does the same thing, right? So Samsung's got to deal with Xbox. Sony has their own TVs, but they pay us for the screen. We good. You know what I'm saying? Like, we good. That's the kind of thing that you end up seeing. And so on that note, the kinds of things that Microsoft is doing in the background. So they just announced today FPS Boost coming to a bunch of the EA games that are in Game Pass. Right? Which is, I mean, look, it makes sense because they're EA games, right? But and they were doing it to games that weren't in Game Pass. You know what I mean? But I just want to let me run down for you.
Yeah, because that list is, I mean, it's solid on them titles that are in there.
Bro, it's stupid. So, again, FPS Boost is technology that Microsoft has come up with that allows, you don't have to do anything. It just makes it so that games that already exist, that are backwards compatible or playable on the system, older games get a boost that brings them up to running more like what current gen stuff runs like. Now, in the earliest run of stuff like that, we would see games that were 30 FPS get bumped to like 60. So many of these games got bumped to 120 hertz, which most people can't even do. But Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4, Battlefield 5, all 120 hertz. Xbox Series X on S. Some of them are on by default on Series X. Some of them you have to go in and turn on because in order to get them up to a full 120 hertz, they actually had to bring down some of the graphic prowess. So if you want, you know, that faster motion, you're going to lose some graphic capability. So rather than just turn it on automatically, you have to go in and
that choice.
Respect them. Mirror's Edge Catalyst, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, Sea of Solitude, Star Wars Battlefront, Battlefront 2, Titanfall, Titanfall 2, Unravel 2, Dishonored Definitive Edition. Those are all 120. Starting with this Dishonored Definitive Edition, we're at 60 hertz. So doubling what
originally what it is.
Dishonored Definitive Edition, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Prey, Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim Special Edition, Far Cry 4. They're all ones that got a bump. And as you see things like that happen, where it's like you don't have to do anything, you don't pay any extra for it, it just is there and it exists. That kind of thing, when you compare seeing things like that to having Sony do something like, yeah, we're shutting the store down. I won't care. Won't care. It costs us money to do it, and y'all ain't really buying nothing. Right. And then you see this influx of a lot of the complaints that people had. I mean, people complained when they decided they weren't going to actually shut it down.
Right. It's like, make up your minds.
Well, there were people who felt like it was a cash grab, right? That they scared a bunch of people into going in and spending a bunch of money to buy games and things like that. So they'd have them because they knew they would still be able to play them, but they wouldn't be able to buy them. And then you turn around and decide you're not going to do it and you're not giving refunds. You know
nope. I mean? Not on those, at least. Right.
Who bought them. So there were a lot of people who felt like, you know, that wasn't cool. My opinion on it is, I really think they intended to shut it down just because I don't think that they felt like, let's just see if we can get a bunch of people to spend some money. I just think that they really wanted to
shut
them down.
Yeah.
I think that for them, driving business to the product that has the highest margin and makes them the most money
is where you want to be at. Hey, that makes sense. And you know what, as a business, like, from a business perspective, you know, I don't have a gripe with that. Like, I get it. You want the people to do it, but at the same time, you know, you're going to alienate some of your folks. So you got to just figure out if it's going to be worth the risk of doing it.
Right.
And in this case, like, obviously, you know, they backpedaled. So,
I mean, the infrastructure has to come from somewhere in order to be able to run those stores and make them continue to work on old hardware. Sony has existed for a long time as a perfectly logical business strategy on making content, making product that use proprietary pieces of software or proprietary inputs, proprietary plugs, you know what I mean?
Everything.
Again, proprietary memory or whatever it is. Like, they have, that is a key part, and always has been a key part of Sony's business. Again, from their cameras, like lenses, power cords, stuff like that. Like, you need their joint. You can't use somebody else's, right? And they are a lot like Apple in a lot of ways in terms of like putting the kibosh on anybody who wants to make a third-party one or, you know, whatever. And I get it. Again, it is a pertinent and smart business strategy, right? To make it so that if you need a new piece, you got to come to us to get it. You can't buy a memory card from SanDisk to use in our product, right? And it's not because, like, they're not telling you in some way Magic Gate memory sticks are better.
not at all.
Whatever. Like, they're not telling you that, right? They're just saying we want. Now, they're in some cases they are saying, like, we have a proprietary format for the way that we save and store photo files or audio files or something like that, right?
I don't care about the format. Cool. You got your format. Do with the format. Cool.
I mean, you say that, but like, that was an issue for a lot of people when there were things that couldn't read that format. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't have anything else that could work with that format. What up? Yeah, normally early Ty, who's today late Ty. Still got 2 ties in the building. Always happy about that. Yeah, I mean, look, there was a lot of news today, so we're gonna move on. But this is a little odd, but Sony did announce a new IP today. Again, I do feel like they are just looking for some good news and some goodwill, because I think, especially after the news we talked about last week with them, it kind of coming to light after Jason Schreier's report that they are like, we're not putting money into new stuff. Like, we're going to put money into the stuff that we know is tried and true. So yeah, we're going to remake Uncharted. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to do a new Last of Us. We're going to do, you know what I mean? And they weren't going to continue to put money into things that were new and whatever. And it made a lot of people feel like the Sony that they came to love over the course of the second half of PlayStation 3's life cycle and the entire life cycle of PlayStation 4, they were going away from. And so I think announcing this, a new game from Firewalk Studios, it's a third-party studio, it's not theirs, but Sony has paid to have this exclusive game. It's a multiplayer game, which is a thing that Sony does not have a lot of. Most of what they have focused on has always been
single player story driven. Not mad.
And it has been the opposite for Microsoft. Most of the Microsoft IP, most of it, the ones that are really big, your Gears of War, your Halo, have been they're multiplayer focused games. That does a couple of things. It means you sell more copies because more people need to play it because you want to play it together.
With your friends. Yep.
That's the thing.
That's what it is.
Another business strategy, right? So if you look at things like Halo or Gears and you compare the sales of those games to the sale of any Sony game, regardless of how well they score or whatever, those games that Microsoft has tend to outsell them. It just makes
It
sense
is.
because they're multiplayer games.
Yeah. And you bring your friends in, it's like, hey, we getting on Gears. You got your Gears? Like, nah, I ain't got Gears.
But
Buy Gears
Microsoft,
or get Game Pass.
right? Xbox has also had a history of building out the games that they have to work well with Xbox Live because that was their big thing, was Xbox Live. And in the early days of PlayStation 3, clearly what they had in terms of an infrastructure for playing online wasn't the same. It wasn't as good. A lot of that has changed. So I still don't think it's completely as robust. They don't have full control over it, but Sony has again, when we talk about them making moves or paying somebody else to get it right for them, that's what they're doing. As a matter of fact, it's what they're doing even with Microsoft. So on top of announcing this new game, they also did make a statement about their answer for Game Pass, that they are working on their cloud gaming response, their answer. And I want to talk about that a little bit because we talked multiple times about what we think that might be. We just talked about PlayStation Now and upgrades that they're making to PlayStation Now. We know that PlayStation Now is making them money. We talked about this video pass thing, which could be seen as some sort of, again, it's just something to keep you in their ecosystem.
Yeah.
When you are shutting down another store where people buy movies and stuff like that, like, yes, you'll be able to watch those movies, or TV shows that you bought through PlayStation, but you won't be able to buy anything else. And so if you can't do that, how do you keep people in your infrastructure to have something like that, right? So I think having a video pass as an answer and that being part of your subscription to PlayStation Plus could be a really good move, especially if they find a way to tie in their newly acquired like Crunchyroll and Funimation stuff or whatever. But what Jim Ryan said to Nikkei, which is a Japanese magazine, but this was translated by VGC. He said Sony is working on its own cloud gaming strategy, which will be unique and only on PlayStation. He explained that Sony is still having conversations with Microsoft and exchanging ideas about cloud gaming, and that when the time is right, Sony will share its cloud gaming strategy. We could conceivably use the cloud for our technical infrastructure, but the cloud gaming experience we're offering will be unique and only on PlayStation. The cloud Ryan is referring to is Microsoft's Azure cloud technology that currently powers a huge number of web applications and streaming services. Back in 2019, Sony and Microsoft announced a partnership that would see the two companies collaborating on game streaming technology together. So as a part of that deal, Microsoft gets access to some of Sony's chip technology that they build. So it is, again, a little
trade-off.
My man KB said, if they roll Crunchyroll in that PS Plus, it's a power move. It's absolutely
possible.
Move, especially outside of the US, but definitely in the US. Definitely in the US. When you think about the ownership that Sony has, again, making a move to buy something like Crunchyroll is major because essentially you yanked that right from HBO. Because Crunchyroll is a part of HBO Max. It's not going to stay that way, or they're going to be paying Sony. That's literally
what it is.
So again, it's one of those things where like it's getting in without having to get in. It's, do we as Sony need to have our own streaming service? No. We need to buy the people who own the content or have control of the content that other services want to have.
Yep. They know what they're doing already. So
it's a deal with Netflix to take all the Sony on. And keep in mind, when we talk Sony owns a lot. They own a lot of movies, movie companies, IP, a lot of music. Again, Sony is Columbia House, Epic. They own a ton of content, a ton of media. So being able to leverage that and say, okay, we have ownership of all this stuff. We can go out and do deals with the biggest streaming services because they're all going to want to have that content. Everybody's
Facts.
vying for content. That puts them in a position to make a lot of money while somebody else does the hard work.
Mhm.
That is just smart business. It just is, no matter how you slice it, right? So swooping in and buying Crunchyroll after HBO Max and Warner Brothers has done a deal
Already
to
struck that
get
deal.
Crunchyroll stuff onto HBO Max because they need anime on
Mhm.
HBO Max because Netflix has anime.
Yep,
Amazon Prime got a lot of anime, dog.
they
There's
do.
a lot of anime on Amazon Prime. Now they got it all. So somebody wants to buy that, that's what they do. And if they roll that into PlayStation Plus, I mean, again, you might see, it wouldn't surprise me if they tier it or do something with that,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. But if they roll it into PlayStation Plus,
Hey, good move. And you know
bruh,
what? You still keep it. You still have your standalone, but maybe you do have some exclusive type of things that are only on PlayStation. This is the only way to watch it. Whether it be, I don't want to say an extra episode. Like there's certain things you don't necessarily want to alienate from everybody, but definitely behind the scenes content, creating a show, interviews, things like that. That could be one little interesting piece. Like because I like watching that type of stuff.
sure.
Now,
That stuff doesn't exist
obviously,
anymore. We come from the era of DVD extras.
oh,
Most of the time, that's
facts.
not, I mean, you can find it on some streaming services, but it's just not a thing like it used to be. People used to buy DVDs because of the extras.
Just because of that, deleted scenes, all
Yeah.
that good stuff to have in there for it. So I think that'd be a smooth move. Anyway, and especially with Crunchyroll right now, if they decide to do something like that and right now in this time and frame for anime, like with all the new stuff that's coming, some of the hottest titles, hottest shows that are coming back, and then ones that are coming forward, like.
Yep.
This is a weekly thing, but I just found out today that WWE is doing an anime with Crunchyroll.
Anime. Yep.
Go figure. But that's content. And if you say, hey, this joint's only on me on PlayStation,
Sure.
hey, you
Or
gonna
it's
have
there
to
first, right?
or it's here first before you can get it anywhere else.
You know, or
Cool.
something like that. Like any of those kinds of things are great power moves to make that don't have anything to do with video games, which is smart, right? Because you're not necessarily gonna you're not gonna take the Crunchyroll app off of Xbox
Nope.
because people are paying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you still want people watching your content.
The only thing I would hope Sony would do is like if they do that, just make do something like I obviously said it's not a software company, but just help with the overall structure of the app because like Crunchyroll be garbage sometimes.
Listen, I think there are a lot of streaming services that have a lot of those kind of kinks to work out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just kind of figuring out. You know, it's why Netflix is so different on your PC than it is on your phone, than it is on the Xbox, than it is on the PlayStation. Like YouTube.
You got to make it work on each one in some shape or form. So
you got to make it right for those platforms.
Like to have unity, but it's like, hey, it works.
Yeah,
that's the key for it.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? Like when he says it will be unique and only PlayStation, what do you think is the what kind of unique or different thing? Not only do you think what do you think they'll do, but what do you want to see in terms of a cloud, based gaming, whatever from Sony, from PlayStation?
I mean, initially, I kind of want them to use the catalyst of where Game Pass is. Obviously, having the games on there, having the right type of content. Like, only thing they could, like, obviously, everyone can have exclusives. I think that is a good thing to have, but I don't think really for them, it's going to have to be something like, I don't know, the type of interaction that you can have within these online, like how PlayStation used to have their hub that you could go on, like you had to create almost like how the Me is with Nintendo. Like they used to have that area that you could go in and do things, interact with other people.
Home?
PlayStation Home. I know their idea is getting rid of that, but something like that. Like you got to have something that's going to be different. Don't get me wrong. You want to have some things that are similar and they're the same. Like you got to have those things that you compare it to and be like, you know what? Game Pass lets you play on your console, your PC, and your mobile device. So I feel like those are the type of things that you want to try to keep consistent. Because like right now, cloud gaming for a gamer right now in this time is the best possible thing that a gamer can have. And PlayStation would just be doing a disservice if they don't figure out how to get themselves into this world right now. Stadia is doing it. Granted, they're having their issues or whatnot ever, but
Luna's up and running.
Luna is up and running.
Mm-hmm.
Nvidia has theirs. It's working. You're missing out.
None of it is Game Pass.
Game Pass.
None of it is tied to Game Pass in the way that Game Pass is a monthly fee that has all of these games included with it. You know what I mean? Like Stadia has a monthly pay version, but
you still gotta pay for.
Like you get a game like every month or whatever, like you do with Xbox Live Gold, but like you still have to buy all the individual games.
That's
a differentiator for Game Pass. You know what I mean? That it's included with cloud or whatever. Speaking of which, I got into the xCloud beta. I got an invite.
I didn't get to check that because it was supposed to roll out to what was it, alpha in or just I think it was, or is it just Game Pass Ultimate?
They said Game Pass Ultimate members, but it was only select people that got invited.
Oh boo! What did you get an email or did it show up on your console?
It was funny. It showed up on my console. I was playing Outriders earlier, and I got a message from Xbox Live. And when I looked at it, it was like, "You've been invited to participate in the beta," and so it told me like I could go to xbox.com/play and log in with my account. And it would just let me do it. Now, when I went to the website to do it, first it didn't let me in. It took me a second. Like I had to just refresh it or whatever. It was like, I don't know. But it said, like when I first got there, it was like, if you got an email, like this is invite only. So if you got an email, like go back to your email.
Go to the email.
Whatever. And I just hit refresh and it fixed it.
Yeah.
I did go check my email. And I didn't get an email, at least not that I could find. They just sent it to me straight to the Xbox.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to take a look because I haven't even got to look at my box today.
So I played it a little bit. I tried it out. I tried it out on this very laptop that I am doing this show from. I played a little bit of Outriders. And I played Injustice 2.
Okay.
John was hella laggy. Which I guess is why it's in beta. But again, I want to try it under some other circumstances. Like a lot of times I keep this laptop specifically, I keep it hardwired. So I keep it all Wi-Fi just to try. I have 2 different Wi-Fis running in the house, so I tried it on both just to kind of see what I get. It was kind of laggy. It was pretty laggy. But again, that might not be. Again, I've run it cloud on my phone. Like sitting in my car on 5G in the parking lot at my job, and it runs like a champ. Like it's incredible. So again, like I don't know if that is coming from the fact that it's running over browser or you know what I mean. It's
which way for it.
And I don't have any Apple products or anything like that. When my daughter is back here tomorrow, I'm gonna snatch her phone.
Try it out and give it a shot.
I'm gonna snatch that joint and try it and see what it is. But yeah, but here's the thing, it worked. It just was laggy. Like literally, I went to the website, pulled the website up, and it looks basically like Game Pass. Like you just scroll through and you just click on a game. When you click on a game, it asks you want to play, you just hit yeah. And it just boots. It just loads like a normal game you're just playing. And as a matter of fact, I was watching YouTube on my TV through my Xbox while I was playing the game on, you know what I mean? Because it's coming out of the cloud. It's not like now there is an option with Game Pass Ultimate, like when you're streaming to your phone or whatever, to have it. Why do you have 2 different wireless networks that don't interfere with one another? I will explain exactly what that is in a second. There is an option in your Xbox to stream your games directly from your box, even if you're out and about. I wasn't doing that. I was coming straight out of the cloud.
Wow.
Why do I have 2 networks? So here's how that works. Where my router is,
do that. I'm gonna check.
From I have Xfinity. So where my Xfinity router is on the opposite side of the house, and it's on an upper level. So I have a second router that is hardwired to that router that is set using the exact same password and so forth as the other. It has the exact same name and the exact same password. And so what that does for me is when I move throughout the house, my product that is on Wi-Fi will just jump to whichever one is a stronger signal. And that's why I have two. That's how that happened. Yeah, that's how that happened. Because I was just struggling to get decent Wi-Fi in other parts of the house, and I already had like an extra router.
So hey, just use it.
So yeah, rather than getting something from the company or whatever to boost or whatever, I just hooked that up and set it up the same, and it just bounces. It works fine the majority of the time. Though in my home, there are always so many things running on Wi-Fi. So many things running on Wi-Fi. And then like when my kids come home, like their phones automatically jump on the Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, not two different signals, KB. Just yeah. But yeah, like the Wi-Fi in here gets soaked up like a sponge, bro. Like that joint is like the minute, like I know when people come home because everybody's phone,
everything
like,
just start acting.
Yeah, it just all it just automatically jumps on. Like mine does it when I, it's like when I pull up in front of the house, my phone automatically does that. Why did that simple setup sound like a complicated explanation? Because if I had explained it as simply as I could have, there would have been more questions. Like the one you just asked, Ellis. That's why it sounded complicated. It's not that complicated. But yeah, so we just have, there's always stuff. There are always Xboxes running in the house, always multiple PCs running that are using. There are there are like 4 PCs in the house at any given time that are running on Wi-Fi. Like half the TVs in the house are running on Wi-Fi. The cable boxes in the house, I have satellite TV, so the cable boxes in the house, some of them are hardwired, some of them running Wi-Fi. It's all over the place. I'm down, KB. Holla at me, bro. You know what I mean? We can do that. I'm about it. You want to network this joint? Let's do it. I'm all about it. You know what I'm saying? I buy the cables, we'll make it happen. So I think we should wrap it up. Only other thing I want to say, not a single PS5 running. There would be one if I could get one.
That's the problem. Like right now, it's
not that I don't have a PS5 because I didn't attempt to purchase one. But here's what I will tell you. I refuse. And I mean, I flat out refuse to pay them for a disc drive. That's not happening. I don't need one.
$3.99 or bust.
That is not happening at all. Especially because I will use it far less often. Like I would buy a backup Xbox Series S before I would buy a PlayStation 5 with a disc drive. Because I would never use that disc drive.
I've actually probably talked myself like I wanted the one with the drive in it just surely for the fact I buy collector's editions, but I've gotten to the point now I'm like I'm not gonna play. Well, I won't play the PlayStation enough. I mean, obviously I'm gonna play it for the exclusive titles when they show up.
Correct.
The ones for it, but if I can play it on the PS4 for now, I'm gonna keep playing it there. I mean, that's what it really is what it is. Series X is where it's gonna be at. I'm actually thinking about a 1S my damn self to just put another room in the house. I mean, the 1X is still running smooth, and
no doubt. But that joint takes so long to load, bro. I hate it. I hate it, bro. I can't go back, bro. Once you get them load times down, bro, you can't redo it, dog. It makes it feel like you. And let me tell you something. You actually feel stupid when you sit in front of the loading screen. You're like, was I this dumb? Like, why did I wait this long? How come I didn't get up and make a sandwich every time this happened? Like, I would just sit in front of this joint and wait.
Yes. Like, I'm just saying, like, the 1X is in my living room now. So now I'll be down there. Like, if I'm just chilling, I mean, it's like, let me just go ahead and start playing this. And then I'm like, I'm going upstairs.
The Series X boots faster than my TV. Like, if you turn them on at the same time, when the TV comes on, the box is just on. It restarts like that. Like, it's just, the joint is so fast that, like, I can't go back. So, now it's like I almost need a Series S just because, like, I probably use it for a streaming box or whatever. Like, because for streaming, I don't need 4K. Maybe it's the hat. How's that? All right, hold on. Let me just hold.
Help me,
because my man's getting busy in the comments. My man's getting real busy in the comments. So let me just hold on. Side note, Ellis. For some reason, I hear the Rugrats theme playing in the background when Joe's. Maybe it's that. It probably is. Tobby, let's get out of here. It's Reptar, Tobby. Why did I just sit? Wait, exactly. Yep. Like, yo, like it almost makes you like it. Sitting and watching loading screens now feels disrespectful to your time.
It does.
You know what I'm saying? Like it just does. Like it feels like it's just so bad. And if you have to play games with somebody who doesn't have one, and y'all gotta wait,
see it, dog.
You can feel it, bro. You can feel it. It's just I don't know, man. Like it's like
I'm scared to play. Like I downloaded MLB The Show on both consoles because I was gonna play the joke downstairs. But I'm honestly scared to boot that joint on the One X in comparison to the
gonna break your One X.
Dog, that joint is clean and crisp and moves so fast on the Series X. There is like, I think a loading screen, it pops up, it's there, but then it just goes away. It's just like a quick little think, and it just goes away.
Hey, listen, let me tell you something about 60 seconds, bro. KB, it's a first world problem, man. Loading screen legit, like a legit 60 seconds is like, yo, I can't with you. I gotta get out of here, dog. Like I have to.
That was GTA. Like being in the clouds, waiting for someone to come in. Oh my god!
Just spinning, watching the little sperm spin in the corner, dog. Like that joint is the worst, dog. Like it's the worst. I can't go back. I cannot go back. It's just not. It's not happening. It's not happening. So like for me to play my One X now. Especially because everything just works. Like just all the games work on both systems, which again I just think was like a brilliant thing. I could just hook it up and use it. As a matter of fact, the only thing I've used it for recently was the TV in my living room does not have the HBO Max app. It's not available on the TV. So I hooked up the X up there to run HBO Max on it when there were people over or whatever to watch. We used it to watch King Kong.
Dig it. Yeah, because my joint's literally a media player. That like all the YouTube TV, HBO Max, it's just that's what it's for now. Like even though the TV in the living room is it's a smart TV. It's honestly it's a Samsung 8000, but it's like the first generation where they did the smart TV, so you can get most of the apps still on there, but obviously it's dated a little bit. So
it hurts. Yeah, I think you're right, KB. The most of the stuff that I see on like Digital Foundry, the PlayStation 5 does look. I mean, it's like a fraction of a second under most circumstances, maybe a second tops. The PS5 does tend to load a bit faster than the series, but like it ain't like going back to a PS4, bro. You know what I'm saying? Or going back, like that's just that joint. It like loaded it feels primitive. Like it immediately makes it feel primitive, even though you're playing this, especially because you're playing the same games. It makes it feel primitive. That is like, dog, what is taking this joint so long, bro? I don't care if your One X is brand new. Like that joint just takes so long, dog. Like the power of SSD is just like I'm a believer, bro. Like I'm a believer.
You sold me.
I'm a believer. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just that's what it is. I did finally have to break down and buy the external card that you can slot into the Series X because I was running out of space.
I need something. I'm right on the same boat, but it's like I'm trying to hold off until a bigger one comes out because
I'm done erasing things. When a bigger one comes out, I'll just get that.
I need something bigger than a terabyte.
Yeah, but you need it now. You need it now. Let me just say something about MLB The Show because you brought it up, and then we can close this out. So I don't really care about baseball games. Let me just make that abundantly clear. The only reason why I'm playing is because it's on Game Pass. So let me just
Game Pass for the win.
How important that is. I couldn't get past the title, and I'm gonna tell you why. I mean, it works, but let me tell you why I couldn't get past the title. Because when I booted that joint,
That place.
and that joint opened with Onyx Slam, I couldn't get over it. I was like, hold on, bro. We just
You
going
shut the joint off and
1993 in
kept
this
rebooting
joint.
that joint back.
Hey, dog, I ran that joint back because the box loads back up so fast, dog.
Dog.
I was like, yo,
I'll give you that.
did they really just put Onyx Slam at the beginning of this baseball game? I hope them dudes getting residuals. I don't know who has the rights to their masters, but
Right.
I like the Bama Sticky Fingers. Like, he is in the background. Hey, dog, that joint had me amped, bruh.
But it said screw the
Amp.
game.
Care about no baseball, man. KB, honestly, it made me respect Sony wanting to only make PS5 games because the old consoles are struggling. But you know what? I can respect wanting to only make PS5 games. What I don't respect is cutting off everything else you ever purchased. As if, like, we got
It
your
didn't
money.
exist.
We don't care about you. We don't care about you or none of that no more. You want to play them games? You better keep your old system.
Draw the line. This is
like,
it. You cross this line. You in new territory. We ain't going back.
The business move that is, we're gonna make everything backwards compatible, so it all still works and you can all still play together or whatever if you want to. Is really more of a power move of like, you can go ahead and trade your old joint in to get this new joint. That's really what that is, and you don't have to feel like, man, how am I gonna play my stuff?
Right.
That's really what that is. Because I don't listen, as collectors, as gamers for life, I don't know anybody that has ever traded a system at the end of it to get the new one that didn't regret it in some way at some point. Nobody. Everybody has had that moment like, damn, I really want to play. You just, I don't care if it's one game. You just want to go back and play it. Right? Like right now, like we still go back and play Def Jam Fight for New York. Because my box is still here and it still works, and I'm using my original box to play that joint. We were just talking about playing Warriors. Like, dog, we're thinking about playing Warriors tomorrow on stream, and I don't know. That joint is like, you know, I still have my fat PlayStation 2. Cool, you know, whatever. Like, I have tried not to ever have to trade in my consoles anymore in order to get the new thing.
Yep. That's where I'm at. The only time I'll do it is if like there's like a special edition version of the same console, like, or in this case, I had a PS4. I never bought the PS4 Pro, and then they hit us with the Spider-Man joint. I was like, it's a wrap. I need that. But like with the Series X, if they come, like only two things will get me probably. Obviously, they drop a red joint, or depending on what game comes out, if it's a clean look, like if it's as clean as the Halo Xbox 360, a Halo 3 Xbox 360, like I had that jump sitting over here in the corner. This jump will never, I'll probably will never play that jump. That jump will stay here for life because that jump is one of the best looking 360s that you could have got.
Yeah, that joint's dope. I mean, again, I have Xboxes and stuff all over the place. I'm looking at 3 Dreamcasts and a blue Xbox.
I can
is right there. I took that joint apart and painted that. That joint's silver.
Yeah, I can tell you.
It's a fat boy. It's a PS2 fat boy. You know what I'm saying? It's the OG dog, not that slim joint.
I still have the fat joint. It's in a bin somewhere. I got the fat one. I still got the slim one. I got the fat PS3, the original one that was backwards compatible. Sadly, it doesn't work because I know it has that
PS3.
Yeah, it's got that one. It's something that can be fixed. You just gotta open it, and it's like it was something with the heating thing. I've seen a trick to fix it. I'm too lazy to go ahead and do that.
PS3?
In the PS3.
Oh, okay.
It's got they called it the yellow light of death. It was apparently like some type of heating issue, but it's easily rectifiable. I've just too lazy to go in and do it because I'm not gonna go back and play the PS3. So
exactly, you're not. But if they made those games being available on your new console, you rock them. It's just this. It's a thing.
Yes, he has multiple Dreamcast. I know he's told this story multiple times of having multiple Dreamcasts.
Yeah, you want to see him? You want to see him? I get them. They're right there. I can get them. They're not even, I have 2 Japanese and an American. Dreamcast. Give me a second.
Yeah, he ain't lying. They're all. He's colored them. Like I've seen all of them. I haven't done that yet. Like I've gotten multiple. So I've only imported what system did I think I imported an original a Japanese PS2. That was the only one, so I could play some of the Japanese games on it. But other than that, like the original PlayStation, I actually had the mod chip plugged into the back of it, and so you could play your imported games on there. At one point, I thought they actually did that with the PS2, but I just imported PS2.
I did the same thing. I imported the PS2 like a year early, 18 months early, whatever, before they came out in the US because I could. So here, this is a
standard, non-painted.
Yeah, this is an American Dreamcast. This one I painted. This is a Japanese one. This glows in the dark. The buttons glow in the dark. I painted this. I did this before they did make a black sports Dreamcast.
Oh, you got the pink one. Yeah, that's
not this. The Sakura pink. Like
that joint was clean.
This one is this is another black light sensitive orange. Did this silver here, silver on top here, and you know what I mean? Like it's just I was on
colors before they did the color thing.
Dreamcast, the original Xbox is a real thing. Yeah, definitely imported my PS because we played a lot of fighting games, man. And them joints are always in English. Most of it. You know what I mean? With the exception of like Rival Schools. Like Rival Schools was all in Japanese. It was stupid.
I had to do
like they, you know what I mean? Like
they put the one. Nah, I had to do that with Dragon Ball Legends on the PlayStation 1. Like that jump, it was no English. Not at all.
Oh yeah, I used to go on like GameFAQs and just download download the fact, man, with the English and with the translations or whatever, and just rock out, man. That's just me and Sin. That's what we would do, man. My Saturn's around here somewhere. My brother eventually went back and bought another Master System. He got a Master System somewhere, and then
my Genesis is over here. The Genesis, and I got the 32X in there.
Into Dreams controller, like the first analog stick joint. I'm looking at it, like I can see it, like that joint is right there underneath my PSP box. Which, yeah, I mean, I try not to trade if I can help it, and I'll play these joints. My N64 set right here for a long time. It's on the other side of the room now, but
yeah, all those consoles actually were right here in this entertainment system. But when I had this Magnavox TV in here that I had all them, and that joint after like 26 years, finally one day just decided it did not want to come on. That day was so heartbreaking.
Oh, I bet it was. Why do I have multiple Japanese ones? Stupid. I don't even like the first, okay, so like the original Japanese one again, I got it early, right? I got it ahead of when Dreamcasts were even available in the US. I imported the joint. I paid what most people pay for a console now. I paid like $500 for it. My original Japanese PlayStation 2, I paid like $700 for. You know what I mean? Like I gotta be ahead of the curve. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. And I used to import games. So like we used to go to, a local shop. There are a couple of local shops, relatively local. One in Virginia, one like right in College Park or whatever we go to get import stuff like that. And that just was a thing because me and Sin used to go there to get anime. Like we used to go there and buy anime on VHS because that's who they had. That's where I got my very first copy of Street Fighter, the animated movie.
Yeah, I'll never forget. That was for me. Like they had all the Dragon Ball Z well in advance, and I was like, excuse me, what happened in the series? I need this.
Like, let me tell you something. If they didn't do worldwide launches now for consoles,
target audience, okay,
I would be like, y'all can wait if you want to. I'm gonna import this joint. I'm gonna get this joint. I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna have it before everybody else. Like that was a thing for me. You know what I mean? Like I used to take my PlayStation 2 back when I was a teacher, when I was teaching. I used to have that joint in my classroom hooked up to my Mac, playing Final Fantasy on that joint. Like y'all need to hush and study.
I'm over here. I'm grinding. Like, leave me alone.
I'm gonna say one day I'll probably display them and get a shelf or something. Yeah, I mean, at some point, like I just pulled these off a shelf because I actually had them hooked up to a monitor that I had there, so I could go back and play them. We just doing like game capture stuff and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I still got the Cell series on
Cell
VHS.
series.
Yeah, let me tell you something.
Go
ahead and get rid of them joints, bro. You don't need
I know for a fact I got the whole Frieza saga on VHS still.
Mhm.
Here's the thing. I actually have like a set and a half because I have the whole edited one, but then I found out about the uncut. So like halfway through, I started buying them uncut because I didn't realize that was a thing until before we get off the record. 'Cause we about to get off record. Where Frieza was fighting Krillin, and Frieza took his horn and drilled it through Krillin's chest. And then afterwards, the next episode, like Gohan went off. That episode was not on the edited for whatever reason.
Correct.
It's just a whole episode of just Gohan beating the holy hell out of Frieza. Once I found that out, it was a different story, and I was like, "Damn it!" Now
I'm gonna tell you why that happened, because you were young buying them. Like like when I say we were buying, when I say we were getting Dragon Ball and like anime on VHS.
Yes, there is still a VHS player. It works.
Yeah.
Do I use it?
I have a VHS
still have it
to DVD recorder that's still here and still. I got a Betamax that still works. Like
I ain't that far. I ain't got that. I do still have an HD DVD player. I know you got yours too. I still got that joint hooked up to the.
I have like 3 of them
hooked up to the Xbox 360.
Xbox ones, and I have a
that joint came with King Kong in the box. That was the first joint. King Kong, and then I got the Matrix.
So I had them when they first came out. They were like $120 as an add-on, and then when they stopped making them joints, they dropped to like $20, and I bought another one. I was like, whatever. You know what I mean? Because I had more than one 360, so I was like,
got one for each of them,
and I had a bunch of HD DVDs, so it was cool. Yeah, like just stuff like that, like games, video games, that kind of stuff. Like in terms of being a collector, like that's just who I am. Like you know what I mean? Like if you want, again, any stuff is only worth what people are willing to pay for it, and like you know, I'm willing to pay the additional money to import. So I do that. There was this place I used to get imports from called NCSX.
Nah, you just, dog,
what do you mean?
You just got to know how to pack them up nicely, put them in certain things, and you'll never even realize that it's even there.
Hey, don't. Hey, listen, bro. Let me tell you something. The only reason why I still have a VHS is because I have like, as a family, we're trying to chronicle, like we have like VHS of like old family reunions and stuff like that, and we're trying to actually chronicle,
move it all
like DVD or moving them to digital or whatever. Is like, because
so that's completed. That ain't going away.
Stuff like that. Like there's a lot of people who are not here anymore, and so like we could send it away. You know what I mean? But like it's here and we have the stuff to do it, so it's like we might as well do it.
Take care of it.
But like you won't catch me like trying to transfer like old Dragon Ball stuff over to VHS.
I don't need to do that. I got that all digital now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't really need any of that, realistically. Yeah, you don't have to have any of that. But yeah, as a collector, like you don't even want to know what my controller collection is like. Like it's just all the different colors in N64 controllers and all the see-through
N64, PS2, and all the, like 360. Bad. It's horrible for me.
Oh yeah. It's a process for sure. Like even just doing like old pictures, like taking old pictures and scanning them in and keeping them, so that we can share them and upload them for people or whatever. Is you kind of just trying to like chronicle your family history. Like that stuff just kind of starts to matter more to you as you get older. You know what I mean? And you know, when you're young and you think you're invincible and stuff like that don't matter to you. You know what I'm saying? Like it just is a little different. You ain't letting us get away with it. That's cool. Like you ain't, you know. Yeah, I mean that's really what it comes down to. Like you just have stuff that's in boxes or whatever. You can't do nothing with it. You can't sell it. You can't, whatever. So you just gotta chuck it. You just gotta chuck it and get rid of it. Yeah, man. Listen, let's wrap this up, Jokes.
Dig it.
You ready to go? You look hungry.
You are so right.
Yeah, you look hungry. So I guess we better let you eat. But listen, I appreciate y'all. Y'all been real good in the comments today. It's been real active. I appreciate that for sure. Thank y'all for being on time, most of y'all. Don't wink at me. I don't like that. That just doesn't feel right. So look, y'all know the most of the rigmarole now, but Jokes, you got a job to do. So if you would,
the job done.
Listen, the why you there, Jokes? Pull up the Patreon. You gonna do Sin's job too. Sin decide he gonna skip out.
Oh man, hey, Sin got on the box, so I need my man should have just jumped on here right quick.
What you mean?
Oh, he jumped on the box.
He's probably in game. You know what I mean? He's probably online.
You could be.
Yeah, he's just on that joint. He's just scouting to see what we doing. he just want to make sure we not playing Outriders without him. That's all. No, good. So yeah, y'all know the drill, man. If you click on that Linktree link, you'll see all of our social medias. That also includes MCU chat, LS Anime chat, and our wrestling chat. Y'all need to get yourselves together. We about to set the world on fire tomorrow. So if y'all don't already know, 3 a.m. Falcon Winter Soldier final episode, and tomorrow we doing Spoiler Boys live. Right. So while normally we record it on Friday and nobody sees it until Monday, live 7 p.m. You know what I mean?
Watch that episode.
I hope you can watch it before.
Plenty of time.
Hey, listen, I'm so about it. If you about that networking, I'm all about it. Yeah. Appreciate that, KB. So here's the deal. You need to watch that joint ASAP so that you ready, because we going live. We do Spoiler Boys tomorrow, 7 p.m. and then we're going right from that into Twitch at 8:30. So we'll be streaming games on Twitch. Once that's done, I fully intend to watch Mortal Kombat.
That's same how I am too.
We will be talking about that next week. We'll have Coop on the show.
Cool.
To talk about that, talk about Mortal Kombat with us. So you get prepared to hear all of our impressions for that as that comes to fruition. So it's gonna be a busy day tomorrow for sure. Y'all watch Falcon and Winter Soldier early.
Yeah.
Watch it early.
I'll be posting at 3. As soon as that joint's over, there's gonna be like 4 posts coming from me.
I'm not. I'm gonna watch it and go to work. But
disgusting.
I'm going straight to work. I'm gonna get up and watch that joint and go straight to work. Some of us gotta do that. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna be busy. It's gonna be a long day tomorrow, but I'm down. I'm so amped for Spoiler Boys. I don't even know what to do with myself right now. I just have to wait. I'm on pins and needles. So we're gonna get off of this joint because I'm finna take a nap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sub did. Yeah, he did.
I'm just.
I mean, he can get fatality, then they could just remedy it somehow. I mean, it's Mortal Kombat.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna talk about that tomorrow. That's for sure. Joe, you pull up Patreon?
Yes, sir.
Shout out them top patrons for me.
Shout out to our top tier patrons: Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dorich, and Tyrone Carson.
That's
much appreciated.
Yeah, it's very appreciated. Again, we love y'all. Again, Patreon has been growing. We really appreciate the support. Listen, we got some things brewing. We do have plans to be a BlurCon. I don't know if y'all saw, if you think you want to be a BlurCon or have plans to be a BlurCon, but if you want to go, you got to have a vaccine. You got to be vaccinated in order to get in. That's just what it is. Things are changing, but they're trying to make them feel normal. So we want to get back to normal. We got to get people right. And so that's going to be one of those things. So
it is what it is.
Currently, we got plans to be there. We'll see how all that turns out. But we got big plans all throughout the rest of the year. We're already in December. Ocean City Comic Con in December is already a wrap. We already in there. It's going down. So there's a lot brewing. Y'all stay tuned. We appreciate y'all rocking with us tonight. With that, we're out. Toodles and loos.